Why don't I just get started? Might as well. Anyways, hello everybody. We're gonna try to do our last scary night because ne- Halloween is on Sunday and Monday is the Day of the Dead. Yeah, November 1st, Day of the Dead, and November 2nd is All Saints Day. So, hopefully next week we can talk a little bit about our experience with the dead and all that stuff. So, my co-host for today it is Julio. Let me unmute him.
Hey,
There
what's
we
up?
go. Where have you been? I've been like texting you like
Hey,
crazy, and you're
everybody.
like, no
Everybody.
reply. Talking about ghosts and spirits, you
Been
ghosted
shopping.
me.
Yeah.
Talking about ghosts and spirits, you totally ghosted
Yes,
me.
I'm a ghost now.
Drinking my tea.
I know.
I'm gonna be like a
Your
ghost,
tea?
just
Your tea?
walking back and forth from my room to the bathroom. So yeah,
Yeah. Al baño. Al baño.
it's
To the
it's. I think it's
bathroom.
one
You're
of the
gonna be
most
running.
popular rooms.
So
I drink
yeah.
about a gallon of water a day.
hmm
So
Yeah.
it's a very popular room in my house, especially when I
That's
drink a lot of
crazy.
water.
Yeah. I do too.
But tonight I
Uh-huh.
wanted something a little bit more
It's
flavorful,
crazy,
so I
crazy.
went with the Lipton Diet Green Tea. Hopefully it doesn't have caffeine, or else I'm going to be up the entire night. I can always
Yep. You're
meditate,
gonna
right?
woke up con el ojo pelado.
Right?
Uh-huh.
So here's an interesting thing
Con el
on
ojo pelado.
Saturday. So on Saturday we did our show in Spanish, and I actually had someone um who actually his dad is a shaman, and he doesn't practice shamanism because he goes to school and is trying to graduate and all that stuff. But we did sort of touch the subject of necromancy and mediumship, and I find that quite interesting because in a lot of circles and a lot of places that I've been to with a lot of mediums, they have all said that if your vibration is high, nothing bad can touch you. And when you start looking into the
Mm-hmm.
the art of necromancy and all this stuff, you do learn that it's kind of like living in a big city. There's your good parts, there's your bad parts, and once in a while, someone bad happens to walk in a good neighborhood, breaks into a car, or does something bad. So I kind of see it like that. The whole mediumship thing. Just because you think you're in a high vibration doesn't mean you can't get invaded by something negative. And he said that he had that
Yeah.
experience happen, that something negative, got in their bubble. And I was doing a reading where I became very frightened. I was scared. And I feel that something negative was coming in. So I'm like, okay, so it is true. Something negative can invade, even if you're keeping that positive vibration. Have you had that experience?
Yeah, I think so. I have. I had remember like a few stories a long time ago. A few stories that we were talking about. Stories about when I did that cleansing of the house. The cleansing of the house. When I got home, I felt it kind of. How can I tell you? It kind of followed me. Because there was strange things going on here at the house.
Yeah.
Since I got my little incense out and did a cleanse here at the house, it stopped. Yeah, I feel every time I remember Grandma used to say there's good and evil. So even if you think you're protected or you're cleansed or whatever, there's evil gonna go in. Evil is going to barge in. Even anybody envious, people that are envious about you or that, just with that messes you up a messes up things. It's just different, different issues, different things that could happen.
No, yeah, yeah. Especially
What
when
do you
when
think?
somebody has like envy against you or just does not like you, that same energy can cause disruption
Yeah.
on your. It's like when you walk into like the dentist office and you have to sit there and wait, and if the receptionist is having a bad day,
Mm-hmm.
um you're gonna start picking up on it, and then you're gonna go on with your like the rest of your day just feeling angry and not knowing why.
Yeah, yeah, and it does happen. It's like even if you don't think, people think, ah, that's real, or yes, it is. It's like how your moves. Even if you move, if you woke up in a bad mood, for sure, it's gonna be, it's gonna be a bad day for you. It all depends on how you wake up and how you see it.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen
And
a lot of negative things, things, yeah. But yeah, but yeah, it's really, 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 really. Some people can feel it. Some people can feel the negativity. Some people can't, and uh, it's really, really
I
weird.
actually start getting scared when I
Okay,
feel
Mr. Waterboy.
when I feel the negativity. For some reason, I feel a little. I start to
Mhm.
feel fear, and whatever that negativity is, sometimes it does feed off of fear because I can feel it getting stronger.
It does.
Yeah,
Yes, it
and
does. It does. It does. Me, yeah. Continue. Go for it.
no, because like I went to a party and it was just like 2 miles away from here, and it's like in a farm, and it's a big
Hmm.
field. Obviously, the lighting is only where the house is and the barn house is. And I was walking to my car and it was getting dark, and all of a sudden I just felt something looking at me. And it wouldn't stop. It had like a very steady stare. And I'm walking to the car and I ran back to the barn house where the party was at. And the next day I was at my niece's house and she's like, "Did you feel something staring at you when you were walking at the car?" Because she had the same experience when she was walking back to the car. The thing is, she was actually able to see the dark
Uh
silhouette,
huh.
like the shadow people we talked about, the other show. She saw the shadow people. I
Yes.
didn't see
Yeah.
anything, but I felt it. And sometimes I'm just glad that I'm
Mm-hmm.
more of a feely person than a visual person, because I don't know what would happen if I
Uh
see
huh.
them. But I kind of prefer to feel them. I prefer to feel
Yeah.
the fear. But at the same time, I can actually feel and
Mm-hmm.
identify where they're at and direct my energy towards that way. So I could be, okay, they're about this far. It could be someone that had passed away, or it could be something that I cannot, definitely not identify.
Mm-hmm. For me, I can feel negativity. I can feel it when I'm in a place. I can feel it, or sometimes it's funny. I can smell it, and it's a weird, weird, weird smell. It's a weird
Oh,
smell.
that sulfur.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Yes. It stings like you don't know what it is.
Like stagnant water.
But yeah,
Agua de
yeah, you can
drenaje.
you can feel it, you can smell it. Yeah, yeah, kind of. Yeah, like this. I don't know. I can't explain the smell, but yeah, I smelled it too. It's like it's weird. It's a weird sensation. I don't get nervous when I feel the negativity. Um, I just try to ignore it sometimes. But yeah, there's sometimes it's too strong that I just say a prayer or something, and that. you know.
I just try to change my vibration
But yeah,
and
yeah,
okay, so Betsy has a question for us. What
it kind
are
of
your
puts you.
clairsentient? It sounds like what else? Well, I actually consider myself well, I kind of see my gift kind of like my right hand and my left hand, and I'm right-handed. So in that with that said, I'm my right hand will be my clairvoyance because most of the times I do see the stories unfolding in my mind. And clairsentient will be like my left hand that I don't always use, but I use it once in a while. But I do take a deep breath, and when I start feeling it, I try to convert the entire feeling into a movie, and then I just watch it played out in my head. That's how when I do readings and talk about, there's a spirit here, it feels like your grandfather, and then I start to convert all that energy into a playing movie, and I'm able to describe what they're wearing, what they look like. I don't hear them. In rare occasions, I will smell, like I'll smell the tobacco, or I will smell like there's a special ingredient that they've added to the food, like a secret ingredient that you know about. Like I'll smell those things, or I will taste them. Like my mouth will water, and then I'll start doing that. Like, okay, I can sort of taste it, but it's all mental. It's converting the whole
Yeah,
information into your senses. So basically, I think like the way we work is we use all of our senses and we amplify them to a sixth sense. That's my opinion on how this whole
yeah,
thing
yeah.
works. So, oh, hi, Nick. Nick says hello.
Oh,
So the
hey
story I
Nick.
was I was about to
For
tell.
me, it's a little.
Oh, go for it.
Mhm. Oh, okay, for me, it's like I feel I was born with this gift. So when I hear stories, when we've been having these stories, I can connect. I can connect with that person, and I can go. And like it feels like something pushes me back and takes me back to that to the story. So I'm watching it. I'm watching it unfold. How you're explaining it to me, I watch it in the back of you, like in your shirt, kind of. That's how I see it. That's how I'm seeing when you're telling me the story and everything. I can see everything. I can see how it's. If you say, "Oh, my bed moved," I can see the bed moving. Or this happened to me. I can see everything. And for senses, I kind of feel. I can feel negative. I can feel everything mostly. If it's negative, good vibes, bad vibes. One time we went to this what was it, base, like a museum kind of,
Mm-hmm.
and we were standing in like space, and I'm like, ooh, it smells disgusting. Like it smells like a dead, I've never dead body, but like burning body, but it smells like a dead burning body. And then so we went in there, and they had the little history, and they said that they killed people and they would burn them right there. And I'm like, oh, oh, I was all nervous. I was like, oh shoot, I'm standing on where dead people are. But yeah, I do that with cards. For me, the cards, I just use them for decoration. They don't tell me a lot. I just connect with the card, with the with you, with the person or whoever I'm doing the reading
Yeah, I think November we
with
should bring
voice,
that
with
whole tarot
eyes,
talk back.
whichever. Yeah, yeah, we should.
I think it will be more of an
Yes, I want to try
intuitive
my new
reading.
cards that I got. I have a lot of them.
Or we can do intuitive reading instead of doing tarot
Mhm.
cards. We can just connect
Yeah,
with the person and just read the person intuitively. And I think that's more my friend Christina, the other co-host, but she's babysitting. Anyways, she tells me that whenever I read her cards, they're not as accurate when I do an intuitive reading. She finds my intuitive readings a little bit more accurate than I
hmm,
do when I pull out the cards and it's like doesn't make sense. It's like, okay, I put the cards away, I take a deep breath, I relax, I change my vibration, and then I start speaking, and she's like, okay, that's more accurate than your cards. I was like, I don't know. And for some people, my cards are
Yeah.
more accurate for them than my intuition. So I don't know. I don't know. That's a whole mystery to me.
Everybody's different. Everybody's different. Yeah, everybody's different. Sometimes it's it's a challenge sometimes, you know?
And here's
Remember,
one
when was
important
it? When was it? Like,
finish.
remember, oh no, remember we did 3 shows ago? 3 shows ago, the guy, it was the guy and his friend that passed away, and I guess you were doing the reading for him. I just got something that told me take off
Oh, yes.
your headphones. He's not gonna believe you. I had that. He told me I'm not gonna believe you. Take them off, and I took them off. And then once you finished, I put them on, and they're like, "Did you hear everything what he said?" I'm like, "No. Somebody told me to take them off. Take my headphones off until you guys are finished." So when I did everything, that guy was like, "See, I told you." He doesn't believe you. He's he now he believes he's not believing still, and I'm like, okay. And he continued and continued and continued telling me, you know. But yeah, we haven't heard of him. Haven't heard of him.
He actually
Hasta
called me
oído
that
de él.
night. No, he did call me that night, and he actually cried a little bit on the phone. He asked, and he said it was just very impressive that he has never had an experience like this, and he actually like he follows me on Instagram, and he said for a couple of nights that he kept having dreams that I was going to talk to him about his ex-partner, but he did not
Uh huh.
understand what that meant. It was
Uh
just a
huh.
dream, and he's like, well, whatever, it's just a dream, until he came on the show, and I started like, hey, there's a man here, and I started to describe him and everything, and then he called me, he asked for my number and everything, and he called me, and he's like, he started crying. He's like, I was not expecting that. It was just the whole thing was very unexpected, and I, yeah, I think
Yeah,
if you're
it
gonna
was
have
weird.
like a
It was a weird
mediumship
one.
reading,
Yeah, and
I think it depends. That was interesting. I thought I heard a something.
I heard a thing, a message. Yeah.
No, not the message thing. I thought I heard a voice. Nah, who cares? Anyways, um, I literally lost concentration. Yeah. No, in my opinion,
Oh
if you
my
get a
god.
chance, no, if you get a chance to have a mediumship reading, I think get it in person because the experience is so much different. When I had
Yeah.
my first reading with Tony
Yeah, it
Stockwell,
is.
uh, well, I was kind of scared because my dad has been dead for 10 years at that time, and I'm sitting there, and his whole face transformed into my dad's face. I mean, you can tell I'm Latino, I'm Mexican, we have our features, and he's blonde, blue eyes, to all of a sudden have the facial expressions of someone from the Americas was kind of mind blowing. But then I was like, you know what? I have that in my mind. It's probably
Yeah.
my imagination. Until three other people that were sitting next to me, they're like, it's starting to look like Greg. And that's when I was like, okay, I'm freaking out now. Because these people have no idea. Everybody's sitting
Yeah.
there quiet. We're all whispering. But until somebody said, that man kind of looks like your dad because he looks like you. And I didn't mention that my dad was dead at that time. So it kind of did creep me out, but it was an experience. So if you get a chance to sit a one-on-one with someone and get a mediumship reading, experience it. Go for it. I say go for it.
Hmm.
I practice
Go for it. Yeah, go do it.
what I practice. I call it evidential mediumship, and I think those kind of readings, in my opinion, are the best because you start with bringing evidence before you start talking about the message.
Yeah.
So the evidence will be who this
Yeah.
person
Yeah.
is. Um, this person
Yeah.
came, like, let's say, oh, this person came in their 30s, but then they're like, but they passed away in their 70s. They just want to show up as in their 30s because
Uh-huh.
that's when you remember them the most. So that's pretty evidential.
Ah.
And so in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion, I say 5 pieces of evidence or more, it's great. If somebody's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
grandma's here and she
Yeah.
loves you, that's, especially like someone in their 40s, the
Yeah.
likelihood of your grandma
Yeah.
being dead is pretty high. But then if you get
Yeah.
like, oh, here's a good one. So I was at the dentist office, and this lady was so nervous, and the receptionist, she was nervous, and she's typing like this, and she's like, Greg, you're here. I'll check you in. But she couldn't even talk normal. I was like, hey, are you okay? She's like, we can't talk about it. I was like, are you talking about the man that's in that room over there? And she's like, you can see him. I was like, no, I can't see him, but I can feel him. And she's like, oh my God. And she's calling everybody to come
Uh-huh.
out. And she's like, he can feel them. I was like, there's a spirit here, and he likes to go in the children's dentistry little office. And she's like, yes, that's where he walks into. And just, we don't hear from him until the cupboards are opening and closing before you. And I was like, and that happens just about every night before you go home. It's like, yes. I was like, I can't talk to him. I can't communicate with him. But there's another man here, and he has a red balloon. And she's just started crying. And this happened. She just started crying. I was like, you know what? Here, hold my hand. So she grabbed my hand. I said, this is a man you knew. This is someone from your school, and he's showing me red balloons. There's something about the red balloons that you definitely associate with. And him, you guys have a red balloon in common.
Mm-hmm.
And she couldn't control herself. I just let her cry. I mean, at this time, I already know you don't cry with them. You have to stay composed and stay connected to the
Right.
energy.
Be strong. Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes you pick up
Yeah.
their energy and you start crying too, and then they start to console you. You're like, it's like I'm supposed to be the medium, not
Yeah.
you. And then she was like, you know what? He was going to a
Yeah.
party. No, but she told me he was going to a party. He had red balloons in the car when he got into the car accident. So that's why the red balloon was the biggest piece of
Mhm.
evidence. I did not need to go into other details because that was the most important thing for her to identify who it was. It was a car accident and a bunch of red
Yeah.
balloons. And then I just delivered the message to her, what he needed to tell her. And, the doctor was kind of freaked out. I was like, just don't screw up my teeth. Whatever you do, don't screw up my teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think my other
Yeah. That's
experience
crazy.
I think my other experience with spirits that kind of did scare me was when I was with my friend Brittany and I brought in my Ouija board. So I don't have it in the house because my mom's terrified of it. She actually 2 days ago she started throwing holy water at me. I just told her not to do it because I might burst into flames. But no, so my I have two Ouija
You're
boards.
bad.
Actually, no, but I do have two Ouija boards, and they're usually in my storage unit. So I had, well, at that time I had it in the car. I took it out, went to my friend's Brittany's house, and her husband's an atheist. So you can imagine all the activity that happened. He had a scientific explanation
Yeah.
why it happened. So we're playing with the planchette and everything, and
Okay.
then suddenly I told her I'm getting scared. That means whatever the spirit is not a good one. We need to stop now. And he's like,
Uh-huh.
no. I was like, think of something. And then he started. The Ouija board I had symbols, had pictures, and it had little angels. It had the zodiac. It had everything on it. So he's thinking of a specific word that's actually on the board, and the planchette just slowly moved to that word, and then it moved to where he was. It's like, if I'm reading this right, it's saying that you're thinking of this word, and he got really scared. I was like, we need to end the session now because whatever it is, it's not good, and I don't want it to come out and find residence in this place.
Yeah.
The second
Yeah.
session we
Yeah.
had, it was like a week later. She's like, "Oh, bring the Ouija board back. We want to play with it." So we started playing with it. I was like, "Your grandma's here." Right when I said that, the candle turned off, her picture fell off, the TV turned on, and I was like, "I hear lots of children. You're gonna move out of your grandma saying you're gonna move out of this house and you're gonna become pregnant." That was the end of that. 2 months later, they moved to another state, and the last thing I heard, she now has a baby.
Okay,
So
close. That's good.
yeah, but believe it or not, spirits don't always
That's
predict the
crazy.
future. So put that in your mind, people.
No, they don't.
Spirits don't always predict the future. Certain things are written in stone. They will tell you
They
those
don't.
things. But other than that, they will not predict the future.
Yeah.
I don't predict the future either. But
I
that's
don't
the most
either. Yeah.
ironic thing about reading the cards. Like, you'll read them and you're like, it says you're not going to get this. But if you put your mind into it, you can make it happen. And then it happens.
Yeah,
It's
you
like,
could.
oh, you predicted
It's
it.
just
I was like,
use it. It's you. That you chose that you wanted it. If you wanted it so bad, you're gonna get it.
manifestation.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Another conversation that we had that I found
But
very interesting was comparing the witches that are here in the US, las brujas, that how they have their covens and they do their rituals, they draw down the moon and things. And
yeah.
then when I go to Mexico, I hear the stories about the witches that they turn, like, you're walking down
Yes.
down the street in the dark and you see this ball of fire and it's a witch. So you have
Yes.
your
Yeah.
witches made out of fire, and then you have those that just fly. And there's videos out there on YouTube. If you type in like Las Brujas de Veracruz or La Bruja que Vuela, you will find those videos of those witches. And I kind of regret not putting a playlist so I can show you guys what I mean. But I was talking to the shaman about this, and he said that these are people that are born with those gifts, and it's part of our heritage of the indigenous. So it's basically comes from generations to generations and gets passed down. But what I'm curious is, like, why the witches here in the U.S., they just go into covens, and maybe it's because they're so secretive about it. But in Mexico, you see them on the streets. You see them flying. You get scared and you go home.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I remember those.
The
Yeah.
stories, right? My
Or my.
cousin's
Yeah.
boyfriend
The
tells me
stories.
that he had an encounter with a Nahual. A Nahual is a shapeshifter that goes from human to an animal. And he tells me that he was in the military
Yes.
and they're in a house. And then suddenly they see one of their what's that word I'm looking? Comrade? Well, one of the other fellow soldiers
Yeah. Camera.
just, yeah, he just comes flying in through the window completely butt naked. And they're like, how in the world
Mm-hmm.
did you get in here? It's the second floor and you just came flying completely naked. And he was like, just please don't tell anyone, but I'm a Nahual. I'm a shapeshifter. The second time he runs into another room, they go after him and he's gone. And they look up on the roof and there's a cat up there. That's when they figured he really is a shapeshifter. He turns into cats and dogs. And that was the first time I actually
Mm-hmm.
hear someone that has witnessed someone that can completely shapeshift. And the shaman from
I've heard like people. Yeah.
no,
I've
no,
heard
no,
people
finish.
turn like wolves. I've heard of people turning like wolves. Um, what
Chickens,
else?
cats, dogs,
Birds,
coyotes.
flying birds. Yeah, yeah. This flying birds. Like what are they called? Owls. Owls. Yeah,
Lechuza.
and I've heard of a friend that would that they found one that they would would go like to the plant like the places where they plant stuff like elotes, tomatoes, and they would go and steal all that stuff, and they would chase them down, and yeah, I they would say they would chase them down, trying to kill,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, Jaime is telling that his friend
yeah, I've heard of those
Manuel
stories
spoke about
before.
it, and
Yeah,
that's who I'm talking about. So hopefully he'll come back on the show tomorrow in Espanol. But yes, it was very impressive. And one of the things he mentions is that the way he was able to identify a Nahual is like let's say if it's a chicken, this is the example he used, like it will be missing a finger. Like something will be off.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
find that
Off, different,
interesting
different. It's different, I think.
because I find that interesting because when you hear those stories about El Diablo showing up at the discotheque, I love using that word instead of the club. It's like you look it down and then he might even have the foot of a horse or the foot of the chicken or both because he
Uh huh.
cannot completely
Yeah.
shapeshift into a human figure. So he keeps something of who he is, which is,
Yes.
something just odd. And I believe that for some reason I kind of believe that when a identity or a spirit that has never been alive, I feel that our gift as humans is that we're pure, and when they try to imitate the human shape, they can't do it. When I look at a
Mm-hmm.
negativity, I try to look for their eyes, and if I can't see their eyes, I'm like, oh, no es cosa buena. It's not a good thing. I'm backing away from this one. I'm not doing this reading. Betsy
Yeah,
is
and
asking.
sometimes for me, like when I do a card reading, oh, when I do a card reading, and sometimes even the cards won't. They don't want to talk. They don't want to talk. It's like they block it. I don't know. It feels like they block each other out, and you're like, okay, well, what can I do? They don't want to talk, and they get mad. Some people get mad.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, Betsy's
Maybe you
asking.
have
They
bad
literally fly.
negativity, or you have something.
So Betsy is asking if they literally fly. From
Yes,
the stories
I've
I
heard
heard
that
and
they
the
do.
videos that I've seen, yes, they do fly. That's a good
Yes, they
question.
do fly.
And going back to your statement that you're
Yeah.
making about the cards, I need to move this my chat window over here so I can look at everybody's chat. Yes, like Jaime says, they are born, they're not taught. I think they are taught to control it. Because when you're a little kid, you do all these things and you're taught,
Hmm.
no, we don't do that in public. No, you don't run in your underwear out in the middle of Safeway parking lots.
Hmm.
So you are taught certain things.
Yeah.
I forgot what I was going to say. I got a little too excited about this one. Here's one thing I have learned in my journey as a reader. And you cannot be everyone's reader. And some people, they
Yeah.
push it and they push it. You can read me. You can read me. Last time you gave me such a great reading. It was so accurate. You can read me. I was like, I cannot read you. I cannot read you. I literally can't. Last time I was able to give you an answer is because it came from spirit. It did not came from my intuition. It did not come from me, not from my cards. The spirit that came in
Yeah.
wanted to talk.
Yeah.
So that's why I was able to provide you with that information, not
Yeah.
because I did it. But other than that, it's like I have found
That's true.
there's this lady that I always read her, and she always gives me the no. But when my friend read her, she got everything was a yes. You're 100% accurate. You're such a beautiful gift, blah, blah, blah. And here I am about to tear because I like to be accurate. But no, I have to keep it in mind. I can't be everyone's reader. Even though the information's exactly the
Hmm.
same, We were just not connecting.
The same thing.
Oh, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
that's
and
when I
that
start
happens a
feeling.
lot. That happens a
But you know
lot.
what? I start feeling the energy. She has an issue with men. So I told my friend, I told Christina, I
Oh,
said, I think she has an issue with men. So maybe you are the appropriate reader for her, even though we provided her with the same exact information. It's just my masculine energy she cannot connect to. And I can't fight it. I'm not going to.
yeah,
So you are her reader.
yeah, yeah. That could happen. That
I
could
found a
happen
lot
a
of
lot.
women.
You know.
I actually found a lot of women in the spiritualist churches that will only allowed to get a reading from other female mediums. They just don't want men to be
Hmm.
reading them. So I'm like, you, and at the end of the day, you kind of have to respect that, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sometimes we do condemn and like there's things that we can see and it's hard. It's like, but yeah, it's I've never had any issues with women or men. Like I have both, but it's sometimes what you were saying too about people that want to know this all the time, all the time, all the time. It's like it's true. Like some people think that you're gonna change their future for them, and it's not. You know, you've seen it.
Oh yeah,
Probably
yeah,
you've
yeah.
seen it. There's a lot of people saying, "Oh, you're gonna change my future. You're gonna change it." No,
Well,
we're not here to
I've not
change
had
your
that
future.
experience. I haven't had that experience, but the experience that I actually had was this woman called me and she even sent me $20. I was like, "You I know you're going through, you lost your home. You don't have to send me anything." She's like, "But I want to." I was like, "Okay." It's the exchange of energy. Currency is the type of energy. I was like, "You just calling me, making me feel special, it's enough. It's enough." But no, she really felt like she had to. So I'm sitting there and I'm reading her and I'm reading the cards and I was like, the cards do not want to talk to you about your business. And she's insistent my business. I want to know about my business. I was like, I think I have to tell you something first before your business. I said, but I have to make a disclaimer. Always
Hmm.
make a disclaimer.
Yeah.
I am not a doctor. I'm not a professional finance advisor, and I'm not a lawyer. But the cards advise you need to go see your doctor.
Yeah.
They keep showing me numbers going up, and they keep showing me an ambulance. You After I talked about her health a little bit, and I said I can't tell you what's coming or what's happening because I'm not a doctor, but I keep my mouth is like salty, really salty, and I think that's representing your blood pressure. And then she started crying. She melted. She's pouring her heart out. She's like, today I went to the clinic. They wouldn't let me go home. They were about to call the ambulance. They said, we can't let you go home until your blood pressure drops below 200. Her blood pressure was 210 by like 100 something. And that's stroke territory. And I said,
Yeah.
I can't give you the business advice because the cards, certain cards are being drawn to me, and I look at other cards, and it's kind of like, nope, back to this one. I look at the other cards, nope, back to this one. And once
Hmm.
I finished talking about that, I
Yeah.
was like, do you comprehend completely what I'm saying? The cards are advising you to go see a doctor. The moment she said yes, the rest of the information just flew out. I was like, okay, we're talking about your business. They're kind of saying it's not going to happen until certain medical events happen. That's all I can tell you. Oh,
Hmm.
okay, whatever. And then we spent talking for like 3 hours. That was like a 3, 4 hour reading. because I don't know if you guys have already figured it out, but I do love to talk. I love to talk, so you guys figured it out, right? And 2 months later, I was sending her my daily tarot.
Me.
Yeah. No, I was sending her my daily tarot. And every other day she will say thank you. And then it was like 3 months. I was like, I haven't heard from this lady. And so I texted her. I was like, are you okay? And then she calls me and she's crying. She's like, Greg, I just had a major stroke. And I've been in the hospital for a month.
Oh my God.
I was like, I told you, your health goes first.
That's
and then
crazy.
your business. The card said your business was not going to happen until you take care of your health. She's like, I know, but I'm so busy. I was like, yeah, but if you don't give yourself, if you don't dedicate some time for yourself, you won't be able to dedicate it to anything else in the future. And
yeah.
And that reading.
That's the other thing that we have.
No, I was going to say that reading, it took me about 2 to 3 weeks to actually ground. I could not ground it. I left so uneasy. I stopped all readings, no more mediumship, no more cards, nothing for like 2 months. Because I just could not ground that energy.
Yeah.
And then the third month, when I start going back to the cards, doing mediumship and everything, she calls me and she's like, I just had a major stroke. And I almost cried because I felt so bad. I was like, I wish I could have done something. And the cards, even my spirit, her spirit guide said, no more holistic. You crossed that holistic line. It's now Western medicine.
Yeah. And that's what happens. It's like sometimes we tell people things that are going to help them, but they don't do them. And sometimes we feel bad because it has happened to me too. We feel bad. We kind of feel bad and everything, but then we have to kind of, if they're not putting their how do you call it, their piece of work, then we have to kind of be cold on it and say, well, okay, that's it. I can't do anything for you,
Yeah.
It's like I've been there. I've seen it, and it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
People.
It's heartbreaking
giving
too.
Advice, kind of the same, and advice. Yeah, it is. It is.
Well, like my friend Christina, she's always like, Greg, you're
They
always.
don't want to help each other.
No, my friend Christina is always like, Greg, you're always so negative. I just don't want to hear it no more. I was like, but I think it's not that it's negative. It's almost like warning. Don't go in there. Warning. And I kind of figure, and she has actually made me, and I'm very grateful that she's brought that up because it actually has made me more aware of my vocabulary. Because I don't know if you noticed that I can be a little peculiar with my vocabulary. And also on how to make things a little bit more positive. But I also keep catching myself saying, if this does not happen, this is the reason why. And I found out usually my ifs means that it's not going to happen. So.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we sort of have a friend in common.
So any questions? Anybody have?
Yeah, if anybody wants to join in, remember, you can always click that link and look at that. We have a little room for you right here.
Join us or... Any questions, any stories that you have, any ghost stories? We would love to listen to ghost stories.
Yeah, we became very conceited and start talking about us. I think because we are so surrounded with this. Go for it.
Like, what do you think about those videos that you think they're true or they're fake? Those videos, like my friend was telling me that she sees like spirits pulling people like on their sleep, pulling them down and dragging them. What do you think? That's real or that's Hollywood?
Okay, so here's my thing with that.
Or people doing exercise and they get dragged.
Well, here's the thing with that, in my opinion. It's especially because I've been, I'm going to school. I'm going to film school, and yes, there is a chance, especially like that low budget paranormal activity. You saw that they created all these scary things that look so realistic, but it was all
Uh-huh.
it was all special effects, and it was incredibly low budget. Like I could do that at home. I just need to know how to recreate those
Uh-huh.
special effects. But there is also a chance that it could be also real, because I do follow this guy, and he speaks Arabic, and one of the things that really did scare me was when he's going into this abandoned house and he's with his phone and he goes into the bathroom and there's somebody standing behind him. And the only reason I bought it is because he's with his actual phone and it does look like it's not edited. And there's a man standing right behind him and he turns around and there's no one there. And he constantly, he starts praying one of their prayers, Lord Almighty all the time, because he believes that that's a jinn, a demon that is there. And I've seen
Uh-huh.
other videos, and
Uh-huh.
these are mostly like Arabic videos. I'm really drawn to it, where they go to these abandoned
Uh-huh.
houses and they see the shadow people. They stand there and they run around and they run to these rooms, and
Uh-huh.
there's absolutely no one there. And there's no way for them to get out
Uh-huh.
from those rooms. And
Oh,
if I feel some of these videos I have watched, you can actually feel when they're fake, because there's some kind of element of it, or they're
uh-huh.
like, you can see a line of like the color don't match, and then you can tell, okay, it was edited. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's ways, in Hollywood, obviously they spend all this money and they hire all these really really talented editors and color correction people that will correct the color so everything looks evened out, so there's no change at all whatsoever, because that's their job. But some of these videos, you can
Uh-huh.
totally tell this was
Yeah.
not edited, unless they're completely Hollywood type of editors, I
Okay.
think. Yeah. But yeah, I feel like some of the one, like the little girl under the bed. I don't know if you ever, I'm sure everybody has seen this video. She's playing and then something comes out from under the bed and pulls her under. I feel like that was edited, because you can also
Mm-hmm.
see that the bed is at a certain
Okay.
height. And I was like, you can actually fit a person in there. But
Yeah.
oh,
And in the
what
bed
the
you
heck?
can't fit anything.
The heck did I do over here? There we go. I fixed it.
Alright.
No. Yeah, but that's my beef with that. Because if you're a film student, it becomes more not so credible when you do ghost investigations. They're like, well, you're a film student. You probably know how to do that. Like Ghost Adventures. Zach, I
Yeah.
believe
Yeah.
he also, I think he went to film school or something. Because when I was like, why is the introduction so beautifully
Uh-huh.
made compared to some of the other ghost shows, like Extra Normal and all those shows? I was like, those are
Yeah.
cheesy
Yeah.
intros, and this guy is like really expensive, like Voces Anonymous kind of introduction.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. You know the one
if
that I
you,
like, the really good show, the good show that I like is the one that it's the psychic and the policeman. I guess he was this policeman and he does the bits in the night. The psychic goes and does the round in the house, and then in the morning, in the day, the policeman does all the investigation, everything. That's the one I like. I feel that one's
oh,
kind
I
of,
think this is a
from all the
Canadian
shows that
show.
I've seen, that's the best one.
I think it's a Canadian show you're
That's
talking
the best
about.
one I've liked. Oh, it
There's
is?
one with a Canadian show.
Okay.
There's a psychic. There is like a house inspector, and there's the a detective. So the medium
Yeah.
goes in there and does all her
No.
mediumship work, And then the house inspector
Uh-huh.
debunks everything. He says no, the doors open and close on their own because there's a draft of wind, and then the house is slanted a little, so that could cause it. So he debunks absolutely everything, and the investigator actually finds all these files on the previous owners. Was there a murder? And at the end, they put all that information together. Is
Yeah.
that the show? I think it's like two women and
Yeah, they
and a
get
black man.
together. No, this one is just the now that you said it, she's a medium and the other guy is a detective. It's only two of them. And
Okay,
at the
Betsy
end,
said it could be
they're
the
here
Dead
in they do the
Files.
rounds here in United States.
Betsy says it's the Dead
I don't remember.
Files.
I think so. I think that's what it's called.
Oh, now I have a new one. I
Yeah,
now I
that's the
have a
one that
new
I
show to
like, and
binge
I
on.
feel that one's a little bit, and I like it because it's really, you know, and really good, accurate. And I see that it's really at the end. I like when they get together at the end, and even the investigator asks them, "Well, what can they do?" And she gives her advice: get a shaman, get a priest, or get something to get these people out of here. you know. But I like it.
Betsy, you should call in and share one of your stories. I'm trying to get people to call in. We only have 3 viewers, so it's not a
Yeah.
big deal, But it is a
Come
fun.
on,
I mean, I like doing these lives.
come
It,
on,
it gets
people in.
me. It makes me more comfortable with the camera because I do wanna.
It's fun.
I do want to produce a small, tiny little show
Yeah.
and about. So the show, it's like you go out. It's about going out to the forest, and it's only like selected people, and each person represents each element, and they are given an
Uh
assignment to
huh.
do with that element. Like that. There's the 4 elements, and each element has like the fire, the air, the earth, the water, and then there's obviously the 5th element, which is the spirit. It almost sounds like Captain Planet. Who remembers Captain Planet? How it had the
Oh
four
my
elements, and the
god.
fifth one was the heart, which it kind of reminds me of spirit.
I thought you were talking about the Fifth Element,
Oh
the
no, no,
movie.
not that show. But I was thinking of doing a little show here like that, Betsy says maybe she's not sensitive enough. No, but I would still like to hear you talk. If you want to come on. You know, no pressure. Do it.
We want to hear stories. No pressure.
Yes. It's not just all about us.
Yeah,
Not
for
just all
sure. It's
about
fun.
us. I love the 5th element.
Hmm.
Jaime loves the
So
fifth
you,
element.
so you think it's? Do you think it's accurate? Those videos that they show like on Facebook, kind of like
I think
when
some of
people
them are.
doing exercise, they get dragged over.
Some of
Okay.
those I don't think they are, but I think
Because I
some of
had
them
that
are.
question asked, and I
Because I like also some of the
okay,
expressions on
yeah,
some of
because
these
I have
people,
people asking me,
you can totally legit see the fear on their face. Like in some of these videos. Some of the other ones you can see the
yeah,
fear and
yeah,
it's like,
yeah,
yeah, you staged it a little too staged, you know? But like some of these people, you
yeah,
can legit tell it's like they don't want to be in
yeah.
the same room with that energy. The one that scares me, it is the one
Yeah,
with the girl
yeah,
that's holding her quinceañera doll, and they're talking to it, and then she turns, and then the doll turns and looks at her, and
uh-huh.
she tosses the doll, and they all run out. I think that's legit. That one scares me because I don't like dolls because of that stupid
Okay.
movie Vacaciones de Terror with Pedrito Fernandez. I was like 8 when it came out. I mean, when I saw it, and it's still to this day, it's so cheesy and horribly made, but it still scares me. The whole concept of having dolls move their head always
They're
scares me.
crazy. Uh-huh. Do you remember
Oh,
that? No, have you
we
seen
have
that video
somebody.
of the
We have a
doll? I
Jim
guess
coming
that
in.
doesn't walk. All right, let's get
Oh, it's high.
Jim. All right, let's go.
It's high, man. I call him Jim.
Get
All
in.
right, let me assign him to number 2.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, but
Yeah,
whole concept about
I
dolls
wrote my
scare
name
me.
as Jim.
Jimmy.
I don't like dolls either.
Oh my goodness. Like I can actually go to the store and purchase a Chucky doll, put it on a carriage and walk around the mall with it.
Uh-huh.
I can do that. But if you give me one of those old school dolls that the ones you lay down and they close their eyes and they stand up and they open their no. Mm-mm. I I prefer to carry an
I'll send
Annabelle
you one.
doll than
I
one
have
of
one.
those.
I have an
Or the
antique one. I'll
porcelana.
send it to you. I'll
You know
send
why
you
I
one
also
when-
scared? You know why I'm also scared of dolls? Because my mom told me this story once. She said that her neighbor, they used to be outside always playing with Barbies. And these are like those Barbies, like
Uh-huh.
those cheap Barbies in Mexico that you buy them and they come with stickers, so you basically have to put the eyes in the mouth. And supposedly this girl was playing with a doll and the doll bit her finger. And the doll talked and it said, "Look, I got teeth." I mean, for a 5-year-old, that is the most scariest thing. Like, I will go to Toys R Us and not walk through the Barbie aisle. Even if it was right next to the Game Boy section, I will just go around the entire area. It's like, now I'm in the Game Boy. I'm staying away from those dolls.
Wow, that's scary.
So now we know what to get you for your birthday.
Oh boy.
Oh, right? No, that is scary. I mean, I don't know. I think if I were to produce a show, I will have dolls in it just for the thrill of it. I was like, I'll write the story, get a different director. I'm not doing this one. Yeah. So what's up, Jaime?
Hey,
Your
just
friend-
here, joining for a bit. I'm
Uh,
doing homework as you guys chat, as we chat.
You know, my sobrina, she was doing her homework once, and she heard the loudest noise right in front of her. All her books, all her school books, just fell off the shelf. And that night, all she heard was rattling of money. Rattling. So she calls me. She tells me the whole story, that every time she does homework, either the page turns or all her other books just fall to the ground from the shelf. And it's a pretty long shelf. Like, if you put a book or an object on top of it, it's not going to fall because the shelf is pretty wide. So I go in there
yeah.
and my mom decides to help me with this one. So I'm saging the place. My mom is doing her rosary. So she has her rosary. She's making everybody pray. They're doing el credo and, with the name of Jesus, yada, yada, yada. Whatever the spirit is, it seemed to got really angry because at night he was starting to touch her feet and going up her thighs. And she calls me again. It's like from the moment you came in, it just got worse. And I can't take it. It's just got worse. So I'm thinking, what can I do? Who can I call for help? And one of the first things one of my friends said, he's a santero. He's like, go look into the corners of the room, and if those corners of the room have like mold, it's an evil spirit. It's an old house, so I look in the corners. Obviously, there's mold, and I was like, I don't know what to do. So at that time, I was reading a book by Devin Hunter. I love that man. He actually shared one of my lives on his page once. So thanks, Devin. He wrote a book called The Witch's Book of Spirits. And I got introduced to the goddess Hecate. So I'm like, you know what? She's probably not one of those goddesses that require a large sacrifice, but maybe full respect. So I decided to work with her. So I'm sitting there, I'm saging the place, I'm asking the spirit, who are you? And I'm going through my tarot cards because I'm speaking with the spirit through the cards because he would not talk to me directly for some reason. So I'm communicating with him through the cards. And then I said, you need to leave. And then I got the hangman, which to me was like, no, I'm going to continue to torture. So I closed my eyes, took a deep breath. I said, Hecate, I need your help now. This spirit is not leaving, and I really need your help. And in the distance, I start hearing dogs barking. Like barking, and birds.
Mhm.
And I was like, I think she's coming with her dogs. I said, Hecate's dogs, take the spirit where you need to take them. I know they say your dogs are just like the dogs of Hades because they're 3 and they're the guardians of the gates of hell. So if you need to take him there, take him, but take him to the abyss. I don't want to hear from this man. He's touching my knees inappropriately and it shouldn't be happening. And then I heard like this screaming inside my head. The dogs are going off. And then the dogs outside the house started barking. First, everything was in mentally and everything's... And then I hear my mom's like, what's going on with the dogs? They're all barking weird. I was like, okay, so this is legit. It's happening. And I close my eyes and I'm sitting there trying to picture the whole scenario. Then I see this man, really, really skinny, tall man. And it's being dragged into the dark abyss by these dogs. And all I hear Hecate, she says, I don't know what she said, but I can't remember, but she said, it is done. So what I did is I opened all the windows for the whole house. I saged the place. I told my mom, you may not do your prayers, but you need to do your prayers. Not from the little booklet, not what the church taught you, but your prayers from your heart. And that was the end of that. We never heard it. She stopped complaining. My niece said, it's gone. So ever since, I'm like, okay, I can see why the connection of Hecate and why this book came to me at the appropriate time to introduce me of who this deity is. So I have my doubts once in a blue moon, but it worked. You know. I'm still waiting for my paranormal experience. What about you, Jaime? Have you had your paranormal experience?
Not with a certain deity, or well, at
No,
least-
but any
at least
paranormal
I-
experience.
Paranormal experiences, yes. I think I touched on it a bit last time. When I was very little, and then I went check on my little brother if he was sleeping. I don't remember this, but my mom said that when she got inside the house, well, the apartment, because back then we lived in a small apartment. I ran out of the bedroom like all scared, and I told her that I saw this dark person, dark figure with red eyes looking straight at me. Like it must have been very traumatic to the point that I don't remember it. But she says, yes, it did happen, Jaime.
You know what? I think I might have had a similar experience to that. Because my mom said that when I was a little baby, that you know how some houses in Mexico have that well? And I used to... Yeah, so I used to walk over to the well. And then I would just run back to my grandma and be like, hold me.
You hear me?
And yeah, I can hear you. And I was like so
Can you hear me?
terrified. Can you hear me?
I hear
Uh-oh,
you guys.
technical difficulties. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Oh,
There it is.
are you
Sorry.
having spirit activity?
Probably so.
No, so like I will
what
hold on
happened?
to my grandma. And she will like start yelling at the spirit. You know, we Mexicans just yell at anything. So she's yelling at the spirit until
Yeah.
she kind of thought it was my grandfather coming to me, or maybe telling me not to get near the well because those wells are deep. And
Yeah.
my mom,
Yeah.
I don't know why she always tells me this story about me communicating with the spirit. I couldn't even talk, but I keep saying like grandma, 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 grandma. And I would just hold on to her leg until she picked me up, and that I keep pointing, there's someone there, that there's someone there out in the yard by the well. And I'm sure I said this story about the time I was there in Mexico. I was in that house, and by the well, I keep seeing a shadow person. And he kept peeking through the trees, looking right at me. So I wonder if it's the same creature that I encountered when I was a child, a toddler, that I encounter as an adult. I don't know. So maybe some hypnosis regression will tell me if I did
Yeah.
or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you could try that and see what happens. I mean, that would be scary for me. But yeah, that's definitely something you could try.
You should read the book Life Between Lives. And it's this hypnotherapist that does he now passed away, but he used to treat people with hypnosis about past experiences in your life. And supposedly in one of the cases he went a little too far back, that this person was starting to describe her life before coming into this life, like in between. So this whole book
Mm-hmm.
deals with the whole idea about you die and then you go to this place, and the whole book talks about this place before you are born again in this life. It starts very simple. You die, you meet your spirit guides, and then it starts getting very convoluted because there's all this information about you go here, you meet your soul family, you get to hang out with your soul family. You don't know if your parents are part of this, and it's like, whoa, it's like too much information, but it's very, very interesting. Then he has another book on how to conduct these hypno sessions. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm curious. I want to know what is like. I want to go there to see where I was before I was born in this life, before dying again, before dying again and coming back.
In your previous life.
Yeah. Are you ready for your next life?
I guess.
Ready.
Not yet, though.
Yawn.
But if it happens, oh well. Early restart.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. It's like,
paranormal stories.
I don't know if you want to do this tomorrow again, like we did last Saturday in Espanol. I actually really, really enjoy it because we had so
I'm
much
down.
information, and I don't know. I'm more thrilled about tomorrow than today. I
Well, my
hate to
friend
say that.
Manu had a lot of
oh
good
my god, look at him.
information about the Nahuales.
Yeah, that was really I briefly touched that today, but I think
Yeah.
I said
Yeah.
enough information about it.
Yeah, you pretty much covered it in a summary. But yeah,
Yeah.
so it was pretty cool. Like I even learned stuff that I didn't know. Like I didn't know that Nahuales were born as such. Like they are not taught. And yes, you taught to control the powers, but it's not like me who, for sure and definitely, it's not in a while. I won't be able to like become into shapeshifter. And it's curious how brujas or witches here in Mexico are different from like the witches in like in
Yeah, the
Europe or
regular.
North America. Like, oh, let's hang out together at the coven. No, let's turn into fire and fly away. Like, whoa.
And I actually thought about
yeah.
that the entire week about it. I was like, how if there are traditions here in the US, I think it will be mostly exclusive to Native Americans, because I feel like those witches down in Mexico,
Yeah.
it's the indigenous that do that, not
I wonder if they
the
have a witch
modern
convention.
Wicca, or not the modern Wicca, the rebirth of witchcraft. I don't think it's that modern stuff, but I think it's more like
Oh no,
it's the
it
tradition,
Yeah.
and
is
I think here in the US it will be
definitely.
Native
Yeah.
Americans.
Oh yes, that's definitely a
Yeah.
trait that goes with like pure blood natives. I'm not definitely,
Yeah.
We're
clearly, as you're
totally
saying.
colonized over here. Look how white my skin
Um,
is.
I can, yeah, I'm too
We can have a
mestizo
witch
for
convention.
Right. Which is boring witches here.
that. That's
Actually, I was
funny.
reading a book today, and one of the interesting things about the book said that a lot of Luciferians are atheists. And it's not
Satanists, you
about,
mean?
well, they use the word Satanist, they use the word Luciferian, they use different words. I don't know if they were just interchangeably doing it just so it's not so repetitive throughout the book. But
Probably.
the whole concept was that whole, they did use the word Luciferian versus Satanist and the left hand path. No, they use the left hand path
Oh,
and Luciferian together. They sort of do that. But they say that there's a lot of people in those
Mhm, mhm.
traditions that are atheist. It's not about the magic or the power. It's about
Mhm.
using your logical mind to solve problems, because basically this planet is all logical. But the other side of it,
yes.
they talk about rituals, they talk
It's
about
very
magic, they talk about this, but it's all included in the package. I was like, how can you be? I don't know. It's probably like those
weird.
atheists that
Yeah.
go to church every Sunday.
Well, from what I have heard though, like usually Satanists are atheists. They just use the symbology of Satanism to kind of like lobby against all these Christian political movements. And then the Luciferians are actually theistic in the sense that they believe in a higher entity, which is Lucifer, the opposer of the one creator, great God, however you want to call it. But even among Luciferians, there is differences. Like there's the your stereotypical evil Luciferian, if you really want to call them that. I don't know what would be the more politically correct term. But then there's also Luciferians, which go a little bit beyond claiming that Jesus is apparently the true Lucifer because he's the light bearer. He was the one
Uh,
who undid the old covenant of El Yahweh, and he brought the new covenant with himself and the one true God. So yeah, it's
Yeah, it's because in I believe it's in Genesis where God
yeah.
introduces his son as the barrier of light. And then as we move on through all the stories of the Bible, then it gets reintroduced as his first and only son. So if you make those two connections, as in, he says here he has a son
Mhm.
who's the barrier of the light, but it doesn't even say it's Lucifer or anything. This whole Lucifer thing, or Satan, it's brought up through the Catholic Church or the Christian Church, that there's an opposer, but the Bible never really talks about that. So it kind
Yeah.
of makes, you can kind of make the connection. Maybe Jesus is,
right.
Confusing.
the barrier of the light.
We don't
Yes,
know.
that's in Revelations. If
Let's
I'm not wrong, he's considered the light bearer.
Yeah, and if you read,
Mhm.
when you start moving through the New Testament and you get into the whole Gnostic Gospels, where the Gospel of Judas, where Jesus, everybody, all the apostles are sitting there and they're all doing their thing at the table, and they're all praying, and Judas goes up to Jesus and says, "Why are you laughing?" And Jesus says, "It's because they're praying to the wrong God." And then he says, I will
Mm-hmm.
teach you, I will tell you about how the cosmos was created. So they go into the story about how the universe was created. And then he talks about the source being called Sophia, and the source created two angels. And one of the angels, what's it called?
Mm-hmm.
One of the
The
angels,
peacock angel.
and the other one basically it means the fool. And the fool created the earth, and he created it so all its creatures in this planet will worship him and no one else.
Ah, the demiurge.
And then supposedly when Sophia or the source was walking around, this fool trapped her. So our goal
Uh-huh.
here in Jesus says our goal here on earth is to become illuminated and go back to the source and not come back to earth. And
Hmm.
that's another story that we have with the whole vaccine situation, where these anti-vaxxers that are like hardcore spiritualists, not spiritualists, but spiritual, say that the vaccine is actually shutting down your spirituality, so you will reincarnate and kind of keep you stuck on this earth. That's their whole theory with the whole vaccine of like you're not going to evolve
That's
because
crazy.
the elite wants to keep you on this earth as a slave so you can continue to work and make them richer and richer, or whatever the whole story they tell. And some of these stories
Uh-huh.
are being passed around all over TikTok. But if you look at
That's crazy.
the Gnostic Gospels, it's like it makes sense, because I always believe that God was the source of masculinity and femininity. Ugh, can't talk today. And in the
Femininity.
Gospels, yeah, in the Gospels, it kind of says that he's both. And then you get introduced to Elohim, which basically means him, her, God. So yeah, so I mean, I love reading the
It's crazy.
Gospels, the Gnostic Gospels. They just fascinate me. They
Yes,
talk
I
about
like.
magic. They talk about psychic powers. They talk about Jesus killing another kid when he was a child. It's like, where are
Oh,
all
it's
these
more.
stories?
No. Yes,
Yeah.
because apparently Jesus also had the power of darkness, if you could say that, but of course controlled. Think of it this way: as a well-trained Sith, but who doesn't, who is not like Palpatine, who just goes ape crazy, or like
Yeah,
actually knows like that he knows the potential and learns to control that power because he knows he's
I think the whole story.
he's
I think he discovers that in the story where he's bringing all these birds to life that he made out of
Mhm.
clay.
And the
And
kids bully him.
yeah, and the kid that bullied him and broke all his birds, he turns at him and kills him right there, and he just collapses. He trips and falls and just dies instantly. I think after that story, you can see how Jesus progresses, as in becoming more mature, as in we don't just kill people because we're mad at them.
Right. So I think
Mhm.
if following the logic that God became man in order to understand man better, he of course had to go through the same processes as us to
Yeah.
learn what's good from evil and what's evil from good. So it makes sense.
Mhm.
But unfortunately the church has been like, oh no, is this all benevolent entity perfect? Well, just because he did some things to discover what was right from wrong doesn't mean that was wrong per se, because he's God Almighty after all.
Yeah. And it's funny because
Mhm.
even in the Lord's Prayer, it kind of does say that he has learned everything from here and he tries to apply that knowledge. It's like what's like those Apple creators. They created the iPhone and they just never really used one, or they just really don't use it. I just created the
Yeah.
phone, and I don't like using it. I prefer the Android. My friend preferred the Android, and he was one of the programmers for Apple. He's like, yeah, I
That's
work on the
crazy.
protocol, I did the programming, I used the apps, but I prefer the way the Android is built. So I kind of almost see that God had to come here to understand his own creation.
Yeah.
Exactly. That was
And
the point
rewrite
of
the code.
becoming man.
We will never know. Let's go ask God.
You do look a little confused, Julio.
I
You do look a little
I'm
confused.
not a really religious. I don't really do a lot of religious things. I don't read a lot of stuff like that. I don't like it. I never liked it, you know. But yeah. Like I told you, my beliefs are different, so yeah, a little bit different than everybody else's. So,
But I
yeah.
think if we look at the whole spirituality and the way that Christianity is built, we can see that it does tie to a lot of astrology, such as, you know, the birth of
Oh,
Jesus
yeah, it
basically
does.
started on at the age of Pisces. That's why the fish is such an important symbol of Jesus, not because he was a fisherman, but because it's the age of Pisces and we're entering the age of Aquarium, which is basically the age of knowledge.
Exactly.
We're in that transition,
yeah.
so we're not in it. A lot of people say, "Oh, we're in it." No, we're in that transition. Supposedly the transition takes close to, I don't know, 800 years to just be fully emerge into that new age, and I think we're just in the middle of
Yeah.
it.
Right. It will
Yeah.
take a few hundred years to
Yeah.
transition before the new prophet comes, or at least that's what the Gnostic scriptures say.
And I always find that so interesting when they say the second coming of Jesus, but that already happened.
Yeah.
If you follow the Bible, you know, he died, he resurrected, and he showed up to the apostles, and they did not recognize him because he looked different. And they're like, well, that is the second coming of Jesus. So you mean the third coming of Jesus? Because the second coming already happened.
That's true. It already happened.
And then he
Right.
he even said the end of the world will be, you know, you who was the apostle? Was it Peter who he said you're going to witness the end of the world? And then he died and it never happened. So there
Yeah.
Yeah.
there must be some kind of symbology there, or maybe the end of this
We might
the
have
end of
another book of Mormons.
yeah,
Part
no, but I
two.
think it might be like the end of the era. You know,
Yeah.
we started the age of Pisces. Maybe it is the previous age that finally ended, and we start this new age of Pisces of exploration and machinery, the Industrial Revolution, and now we're getting into the age of communication and revelation of truth.
Yeah. Probably so.
I love how you're so confused.
Well, yeah, the
I'm not like okay.
I'm all about the
Okay.
Gnostic Gospels. Well, I have to get going, unfortunately, but it was nice stopping by, saying hi.
Yeah. So let me know if
Yeah.
you wanna do this again tomorrow with your friends and everything, and then we
Oh,
can
yeah.
get more. We can
I'll
definitely
maybe
talk about
enjoy,
this.
but I'll definitely be on tomorrow night.
Yeah, definitely. So let me
Alright.
know. Let me know what's up.
Will do. Talk to
All
you
right.
later, boys. Have fun.
Bye.
Bye.
Jesse.
Let's go back
Talk
to
you
the
later.
to our old screen over here.
Oh,
I know
yeah.
I didn't mean to
Questions?
questions, comments, concerns, pregnancies, anything that I need to know about. I got my food, baby.
You
I got my
are the
food,
father.
baby. Yeah. No, this whole Gnosticism and spirituality, I think it's such an ample thing that it will take you a couple of lifetimes to even
Yeah.
understand it. You know, I find it so interesting how
Crazy.
some people
Yeah.
write these books. They're like this, they're thicker than the Bible, explaining all these concepts. And then you find another book that gets more in depth. It's like,
And it's different.
I thought I learned that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel that our spirit progresses as we move on the other side too. Because why are these
Okay.
ancient spirits from I don't know, thousands of years are able to communicate with us through our electronics, flickering lights, because at that,
Yeah.
when they were alive, it was all candles.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
So it's like, I
That's true.
believe that spirit progresses as we progress. Except
Look at
maybe the Bible.
What's his name? Nostradamus. Nostradamus.
Yeah.
How he predicted all these things before it happens. Like, yeah. But it's
You look
interesting.
tired.
Yeah.
You look tired. I guess we're going to call it a
I'm
night.
not. I'm just confused.
You're not?
I'm confused.
It's any
I'm
of our
hungry.
3 viewers. It's any of our 3 viewers confused.
Yeah. Come on, people.
Yeah. No, I didn't advertise
Yeah,
it. I
it's
don't
like
think I
me.
want to advertise this. Oh, Jackie. Hi, Jackie.
No.
It's nighttime over here. So if you want to hop in and tell us
Hi,
a scary
Jackie.
story or join in on the whole discussion about Gnosticism, and I do consider myself a Gnostic Christian. Or a Christian. You know how some people have been using the word Christian witch? I kind of like it. Jeffrey, always confused.
Christian
Yes.
witch. Oh my god. Really?
Jackie just logged in. It's 5 in the morning.
yeah,
I believe she's in
okay,
Ireland.
Christian
And then we have Jeffrey here. What are you confused about,
witch.
Jeffrey?
Ireland. Oh my god.
I know. We don't have that many viewers, but we are international. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, this whole spirituality can be very convoluted, and the only reason I'm able to
Yeah.
talk
Tell
about
us
it
some
a little
Ireland,
bit.
horror stories.
Oh, is the Banshee Irish? I'm trying to remember. I remember Disney produced a film about that, and when I watched it, I was actually really scared. Remember seeing the whole carriage? It was like glowing green or something.
Oh
And
my god.
if you hear the Banshee, she's come to get you. I can't remember the movie. I can't even remember the name of it, but I still think it was a Disney movie. Disney used to make really scary
I
movies.
don't remember.
Yeah, I mean, if you think
I
about
know.
it, like
Yeah. Yeah.
I know, like Sleeping Beauty, that was kind of creepy at some points of the movie, or Beauty and the Beast, like had those dark things. Yes, it's Ireland. Oh yeah, I got it right.
And yeah, tell us some Ireland
I
Irish
wonder if that's
stories.
No, I don't think that's equivalent to La Llorona. I think like the Banshee must be like the kind of like the equivalent to the angel of death. If you hear it, it's coming for you. You know, we have this superstition. If
Órale.
somebody knocks on your door, you should never say come in, because it could be death coming in. Have you
Yeah.
heard about that? Like Mexican
Yeah.
folklore? About just go find out who it is.
My
Don't
mom,
you say
my
come
mom,
in.
my mom would tell me, if they knock for one time, don't open the door. If they knock twice, 3 times or more, then open the door and be a live person. If it's not, it's a bad spirit or it's a negative that wants to come into your house.
Yeah. Actually,
I
that
remember my
happened
mom
to
used
us
tell me that all the time.
once.
Don't open the door on the first knock. Never.
So we used to live in a house. In this house, the windows were like this, and there was a gate over here. So, and that gate had a cowbell. So if you hear the cowbell, somebody was coming. Like they had to open that gate. So this time we heard a knock on the door. And I remember because I opened it. There was nobody there. I ran to the backyard. Nobody there. It was dark, so I ran back in the house terrified. And we were also a little spooked out. I think that is my paranormal experience. And
Yeah.
And we're all looking at each other as like somebody knocking the door. There's no one there, and our gate that had the cowbell never sounded. It never was open. 5 minutes later, my mom gets a phone call that my aunt died. And because my aunt has actually been to that house, we all believed she just came by to say goodbye. And one of the ways
that's
she
right.
knew how to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jackie says, hold on. I think
Yeah.
Banshee tells you someone is about to die, not yourself. I'll have to Google, but it's too early. No, don't even worry about it. I think that's how the Disney movie went, because if I remember this correctly, and if somebody does out there, let me know if I'm accurate. I remember somebody was sick in the bed and they heard the Banshee and they were trying to like not make it happen, something like that along those lines. But it wasn't it was not the protagonist. It was, one of the characters in the movie that was gonna die. She says that makes sense about the knocking in a TV series Vampires. You need
So,
to be invited. So that makes sense to me. I saw a movie about that. It was about this little
about
girl who meets this little boy, and he keeps telling her like, I cannot come to your house unless you invite me in. I'm gonna look up the name of that movie. It's really good. It's really good. She becomes friends with this kid that lives basically in darkness. He can't come out to the light, but I don't want to spoil it. It's a good movie. Yeah. You were saying?
what's the name of the movie? You don't know it?
No, I don't know it.
No, what I was saying. I totally forgot now. I totally forgot.
I'm
I had
terrible.
one blank. Yeah. Yeah. I forgot.
I don't know if I told
Well,
you
but,
that. Go ahead. I think there is a delay between my
no, you go
microphone
ahead.
and your headset.
Yes.
No,
Yes,
okay,
there is.
fine. I am
see.
planning to, and I think I said this last time, that I am planning to go into one of the cemeteries here in Half Moon Bay. It's one of the oldest ones in town, because I've seen tombstones that go further than 1800s, and it's built kind of as a labyrinth. I want to do a paranormal investigation there, so. But that's the thing. It's like, if you're a film student, people are not going to believe if it's real or not real or not. But I'm not going to edit it. I'm just going to import it in the computer,
Just be careful.
put it on the screen, and talk about it.
Yeah.
No, before I go,
Yeah,
I
just
always
be
ask,
careful.
I always tell the spirits what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell them that I'm wanting here to find evidence of the afterlife. I'm not there to taunt the spirits, force them to communicate. I just want to find solid evidence of the afterlife through EVP or some kind of visual thing with a video camera. I think that is the most appropriate and respectful way to approach a spirit. I want to be like everybody else. I want to find evidence of the afterlife for myself. Don't just sit there. Come on, spirit, do this, do that, move the ball, do this. No. And I find that if you ask them politely and nice enough, they might actually collaborate on your whatever you're doing. Because some people, when you ask a favor to someone in a nicer way, it's most likely that they will do you the favor than if you like kind of force them to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's sometimes. Well, what like me? Honestly, I can't even go to a graveyard because I start feeling everything. I start feeling the pain, if how they died or whatever. I start feeling it, and then people come like bunching up to me, like trying to talk to me, kind of like in like doing it. That's why I don't go to any of the. It's weird for me to go into one of those. It's hard. It's very, very hard for me
Look,
to
I
go
spill water on me.
into a graveyard.
Yeah.
We have
No,
like,
I don't get that. I don't know why. I don't get that.
We have two ethics.
To what?
Mhm. Yeah, I feel like really crazy. I feel kind of like they're talking to me. I hear voices. I hear them whispering. I hear things from them. They want to communicate, but I try not to. That's why I don't like going into any of the graveyards here. We have two, like 3 blocks from here. We have two antique graveyards.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can you feel anything right now? So Jackie says,
A
it will
little
be no
bit.
harm to us, maybe Archangel Michael, to protect you too, or whoever you feel can keep you safe. I am a big fan of the Archangel Michael. I love that. I love the guy. Even though some angels are... No, I think angels are androgynous, but
Yeah.
it's part of their grammar. I like the guy.
Hmm.
Or the gal,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel
It all
anything
depends
right
on what
now?
you believe. Just yeah, they get. I kind of feel something. I've been feeling a few seconds. When I turned disconnected my mic when you were talking with the other guy. You
Jimmy.
told me what's going on. I kind of felt something.
Because I'm
Something
currently
weird.
feeling, because we're
Yeah.
talking about it, and usually that's always my cue to open up when I talk about it. I'm currently feeling there's a woman with you. She's an older age. I believe this is your grandmother. And all she's saying, everything's all right.
Uh huh.
What you've been asking or thinking about, yes, everything's okay. And I believe she's talking about someone that
Mhm.
crossed over,
Mhm.
and she's kind of confirming she's with us now. Everything's fine. No need to worry. You're doing a great job.
Yeah.
And it feels like this is your grandmother. I also feel somebody else's family member coming in. I believe is for Jeffrey Kelly. Are you still here on the live? So I do feel, I also feel it's almost like parallel to the women that is connected with you, because she's also making me feel that it it almost feels like she wouldn't agree with some of the stuff that he's currently doing now, but she is in a better place, that it makes it like I understand it. She kind of makes me feel like I understand it. There's also a sense of worry about someone you're with, of they're constantly, traveling or constantly doing something, that it pops in your mind that it might not be safe, once in a while, but she's saying everything's going to be
Mhm.
okay. And she keeps showing me
Mhm.
changes. There's changes that you're asking, and they're coming. Have patience. I don't feel like she spoke another language, because I'm speaking pretty clear, but she does feel like she spoke really fast, probably in her younger years. Um, you're always more than welcome to join us in this conversation. I've been drawn to you for quite a while. It's been a few days. I know we don't know each other very well. Well, we don't know each other at all, period. But I feel like this woman she was an important character in your life. Why do I keep playing around with these things? She feels very important.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Do you feel her too?
Yeah.
¿La sientes tú
Whew.
también?
I kind of felt something. Just feel something in the back of me. Not a lot all the time, but a few times I've been feeling like the closet cracking a little bit, or things like that, but not like really really much.
Yeah. Well, I can't really concentrate because I have to let all this thing out now. I have to go to the bathroom so bad. I'm like holding it in. No, but yes, I think November, like I was telling you earlier, November I do want to bring different content, even for my 4 fans. Um, I want to bring tarot talk again, and I do want to mix it with a little mediumship, because I always ask Spirit if you want to come in when I'm doing my tarot readings. It's perfectly fine. And I do want to bring my cousin
Yeah.
here, because she's always talking about manifestations and losing weight. And I think because the holidays are coming, I think we connect our spirituality and our connections with our family and our loved ones through our bellies.
Hmm.
Where that's why
Yeah.
we eat so much. And I think that's,
Yeah.
we connect our spirit to that a lot. So I want to bring that in. I and I also want to talk to my friend Christina, who is a big fan of IF, intermittent fasting. She has fasted. I have fasted for 5 days, and it was difficult, but it was a spiritual experience. So we want to bring in our experiences on that and have you guys call in and share yours. Obviously, our tarot talk, that was very popular, and a lot of people wanted to call in and get a reading. So, yeah, definitely.
I know.
No, but I do want to
Yeah,
keep this a
we
little
can
bit
do
more
that
in the
again.
esoteric side, the metaphysical, and things like that. And I also do want to host something with Jackie. I don't know why. I mean, with someone from Ireland, you can just pick the time, and I'll be there as long as I'm awake and you're
Yeah.
awake, right? Do a little mediumship, a little card reading.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
That'd
with
be
that
cool.
said, that's basically what I have for
Be great.
tonight.
Yeah.
Do you have anything you want to add?
So
Porque ya me meo.
no, just join the man. Keep on winning, and then I'll use that bottle to fill it up.
I'll just do it right now. I'll mute the mic.
Yeah, just
No, I'm kidding.
But
TMI,
yeah,
TMI.
no,
I
that's
should
it,
open an
mostly.
OnlyFans just for that. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, well,
Yeah,
you
just
guys, that's what I have for
yeah,
you,
Chico.
and that's what you have for us. So, thank
Yeah,
you
for
for
me, I'm
joining
okay,
us.
and have a nice week, and I hope you guys join us.
We'll see what I
Join
come
us,
up with for
and
tomorrow in Espanol.
you'll come back now.
You know what I want to do next week, next
That's
Friday,
cool.
especially if those that are watching. I really want to share your everything that has to do with the Day of the Dead because it's on Monday. So if you, I think it will be a nice touch
Yes.
to add to share your pictures of your altars, videos, anything like that, or if some of us can connect to spirit, deliver messages from your loved ones, especially because the veil is supposed to be thinning between October 31st all the way until like November 2nd. It's when the veil of this spirit and of this world and the world of spirit, it's at its thinnest. So I am going to do prayer. I am going to talk to my dad. My aunt died like 2 weeks ago, so I will do say thank you for being part of my life when she was, so things like that. So yes, I'm excited.
Yeah.
So you guys, with any
Yeah. Yeah, we can do
further
that.
ado,
We can do that next week. El
Yeah.
Día de los Muertos.
even though it's going to be a little late, but it will give you a chance to explore especially if your city is doing something like San Francisco uses one of the parks and everybody builds their altars there. So hopefully I'll get a chance to go there and take some pictures, take some videos, and share them with you guys here in the live. And what I'm planning to do, for the Day of the Dead, I am gonna work on my altar. Yeah. Well, if I don't be quiet, I can talk forever. Yeah.
And then he's
All right,
gonna have
you
an
guys.
accident.
I know. I'm like, it's
All
like
right, bye.
it's about to fall off if I don't go right now. TMI. Yeah. All right, you guys. Thanks for watching.
All right. Talk to you guys tomorrow.
All right. Have a good one.
Bye.